What's that smell?
That's money. Next time on Landman.
Why don't you come with me? Let me show you the future.
The future? Do you have a crystal ball?
I think maybe so.
This is my crew now. Yes or no?
If this thing doesn't work, it's our ass.
I understand it now. There's an exhilaration to the risk.
That rush cost me everything.
President of my company can't be averse to the very thing that built it.
What are you saying?
The sadness in Landman, Season 2, Episode 9, doesn't come from a single tragic moment. It comes from realization. From watching characters finally understand that the lives they built, the choices they defended, and the sacrifices they justified are quietly turning against them. This episode doesn't scream heartbreak, it lets it sink in slowly. And by the time the credits roll, everything feels heavier than it did before.
Next time on Landman.
Episode 9 opens in a way that immediately feels different. There's no explosive conflict, no dramatic confrontation right out of the gate. Instead, there's tension in the silence, the kind of tension that tells you something is already broken, even if no one has said it out loud yet. Tommy, more than anyone else, carries that weight. You can see it in the way he moves, in how tired he looks, in how every conversation feels like another responsibility stacked on his shoulders. This episode makes it painfully clear that Tommy isn't just exhausted physically. He's emotionally worn down, and for the first time, he seems aware of it. What makes this episode so sad is that nothing truly new happens to Tommy. He isn't betrayed out of nowhere. He isn't blindsided by an unexpected disaster. Instead, Episode 9 forces him to confront the consequences of things that have been building all season. His loyalty to MTEX, his belief that hard work and sacrifice will eventually be worth it, his idea that holding everything together is somehow the same as saving it. The tragedy is that Tommy has done exactly what was asked of him, and it still isn't enough. The episode leans heavily into the emotional distance between Tommy and the people around him. Conversations feel colder, pauses last longer. When people talk to him, it's no longer with trust or partnership, but with evaluation, as if he's no longer a person, but a problem that needs solving. Cammy, especially, embodies this shift. Her vision for the company has fully solidified now, and there's no room for hesitation in it. What once felt like ambition now feels ruthless. And Tommy, who used to be essential to that vision, suddenly feels like an obstacle standing in the way of it. There's an unspoken sadness in watching Tommy realize that the values he's been holding onto don't matter anymore. Loyalty doesn't matter, caution doesn't matter. Even experience doesn't matter if it conflicts with profit. Episode 9 doesn't rush this realization. It lets it unfold naturally through glances, through half-finished sentences, through moments where Tommy clearly understands what's coming but isn't ready to say it out loud yet. That quiet awareness is what makes this episode hurt. At the same time, the episode reinforces how alone Tommy truly is. The people he protected are moving forward without him. The systems he kept running no longer need his hands on the wheel, and the job that once defined him is now slowly stripping him of his place within the company. This isn't just about losing power or position, it's about losing purpose. For a man who tied his identity so tightly to his work, that loss feels devastating. By the end of this first stretch of the episode, the sadness is undeniable, not because something terrible has already happened, but because you can feel it approaching. Episode 9 doesn't give you release, it gives you dread. It tells you that the end isn't coming with a bang, but with a quiet, unavoidable collapse. And that's what makes it so painful to watch. What makes Episode 9 hit even harder is how it shows that sadness isn't limited to just Tommy. It's everywhere, woven into every storyline, every character interaction, every choice that feels slightly off but completely intentional. This episode is about people reaching points they can't come back from, even if they don't realize it yet. And nowhere is that clearer than in the shifting power dynamics inside MTEX. Cammy is no longer debating her decisions. She isn't seeking reassurance or validation. She's already moved past doubt. The version of her we see in Episode 9 is someone who has accepted that winning means losing parts of herself, and she's fine with that trade. That acceptance is what makes her so dangerous and so heartbreaking to watch. Her conversations feel colder now, more calculated. When she talks about the future, it's no longer a shared dream. It's a destination she's dragging everyone toward, whether they're ready or not. And Tommy feels that distance more than anyone. Every exchange between them carries the weight of everything they're not saying. You can sense that Cammy has already made a decision about him, even if she hasn't spoken it out loud yet. She listens to him, but she doesn't hear him. His concerns aren't wrong, but they're inconvenient. And in her world now, inconvenience is enough to disqualify someone completely. Meanwhile, Cooper's rise continues, and episode 9 makes it clear that this isn't just a professional transition. It's symbolic. Cooper doesn't just represent fresh leadership or new energy, he represents a future where Tommy's methods, instincts, and sacrifices are no longer necessary. Cooper steps into his authority naturally, without resistance, and that's what stings the most. There's no chaos, no backlash, no struggle for control. The machine keeps moving smoothly and efficiently as if it was waiting for this change all along. And Tommy is forced to watch from the sidelines as something he built continues without him. That quiet replacement is devastating. Not because Cooper is undeserving, but because it proves that Tommy's role was always temporary, even if he believed otherwise. Episode 9 doesn't frame this as betrayal, it frames it as evolution. And sometimes that's even more painful. There's no villain to blame. No single person to point at and say, this is your fault. It's just progress moving forward without sentimentality. And for someone like Tommy who gave everything to keep things running, that realization cuts deep. Angela's emotional unraveling adds another layer to the sadness. For most of the series, she's been defined by carelessness, by surface-level desires, by a refusal to take anything too seriously. But episode 9 strips that armor away. Her tears don't come from loss, but from envy, from realizing that the life she wants is slipping further out of reach. Watching Galliano present a future built on pleasure and wealth forces her to confront what she doesn't have and what Tommy will never give her. This isn't a dramatic breakup moment. It's worse. It's the slow understanding that the person you're with can't become the person you need, no matter how much you wish they would. Tommy's work ethic, once admirable, now feels like a barrier. He doesn't chase money for comfort or status. He chases responsibility, purpose, control. And Angela sees that clearly now. Episode 9 doesn't vilify her for wanting more. It simply shows the emotional cost of wanting something your partner can't provide. Their disconnect feels final, even if nothing officially ends yet. The sadness comes from knowing that love alone isn't enough to bridge that gap. Even the looming presence of Galliano reinforces the episode's bleak tone. His calm confidence, his financial invincibility, his ability to win regardless of outcome, all underline a brutal truth. The game was rigged long before anyone realized it. While others risk everything, he risks nothing. And that imbalance makes every struggle feel futile. When you understand that someone else has already secured their victory, every sacrifice made by others feels pointless in comparison. By the midpoint of episode 9, the sadness has fully settled in. Not as shock, but as certainty. Characters aren't spiraling anymore, they're accepting, and that acceptance is what makes this episode so emotionally heavy. It's the moment where hope quietly fades, replaced by realism, and once that shift happens, there's no going back. As episode 9 moves forward, the sadness deepens because the characters stop pretending that everything can still be fixed. Earlier in the season, there was always an escape route, a deal that might work, a decision that could turn things around. But now those options feel gone. What's left is endurance, and the episode spends a lot of time showing how exhausting that can be. Tommy especially seems trapped in a cycle where every solution creates a new problem, and every act of responsibility pushes him further away from the life he might have had. There's a quiet cruelty in how Tommy continues to show up, even when it's clear that his presence no longer changes outcomes. He still tries to guide, to advise, to protect the company from itself. But the responses he gets are muted, almost polite. People listen, nod, and then move on. It's not open rejection. It's worse. It's irrelevance. Episode 9 captures this beautifully by letting moments linger just a little too long. You can feel Tommy waiting for reassurance that never comes, for confirmation that his voice still matters. And each time it doesn't, something inside him seems to shut down. Cammy's transformation reaches a critical point here. She is no longer wrestling with doubt or guilt. She has fully embraced the idea that leadership means standing alone. And while that might look like strength on the surface, the episode subtly reveals the loneliness underneath it. Her conversations are efficient, focused, stripped of warmth. She's winning, but she's isolated. And the saddest part is that she knows it. Episode 9 doesn't frame her as heartless, it frames her as someone who made a choice and is now living with its emotional cost. The tension between Cammy and Tommy feels unavoidable now. There's no dramatic explosion, no screaming match, no final argument that clears the air. Instead, their relationship deteriorates through controlled dialogue and uncomfortable honesty. When Cammy questions whether Tommy can continue in his role while opposing her vision, it's not an attack, it's a conclusion. One she's already reached internally. Tommy's reaction isn't anger, it's disbelief. Not because he doesn't understand her logic, but because he never imagined being seen as disposable. That realization lands quietly, but it hits hard. This section of the episode also reinforces how the world of Landman rewards detachment. Those who care too deeply suffer the most. Those who keep emotional distance stay afloat. Galliano embodies that philosophy perfectly. His confidence never wavers because his future doesn't depend on anyone else's success. He doesn't need loyalty, he doesn't need trust, he needs numbers, and the numbers already favor him. Episode 9 uses his presence to remind us that fairness has no place in this system. The rules were written by people like him for people like him. Cooper's storyline continues to evolve in a way that feels both hopeful and tragic. On the surface, his growing authority signals opportunity. He's stepping into leadership, earning respect, proving himself capable, but beneath that progress is an uncomfortable truth. His rise is built on Tommy's decline. Cooper isn't taking anything by force, he's simply being handed responsibilities that Tommy can no longer hold, and while Cooper doesn't celebrate this shift, he also doesn't resist it. The machine demands a new operator, and he's willing to step in. Episode 9 doesn't judge him for that. It simply shows how progress often comes at someone else's expense. Angela's emotional arc continues to unravel in this section, and it's handled with surprising restraint. Her sadness isn't explosive, it's quiet, internal, and deeply personal. She's realizing that the life she wants requires choices she hasn't made and sacrifices she isn't willing to endure. Watching others live freely while she remains tied to responsibility through Tommy forces her to confront a painful truth. She loves him, but she doesn't love the life he represents, and that realization hurts both of them, even if it's never fully spoken. By the end of this part of the episode, everything feels heavier. Not because of a single dramatic event, but because of accumulation. Every conversation, every decision, every silent acknowledgement adds another layer of weight. Episode 9 doesn't rush toward tragedy. It walks toward it slowly, deliberately, making sure you feel every step along the way. And that slow burn is what makes the sadness so overwhelming. By the time episode 9 reaches this point, the sadness has fully transformed into something deeper and more unsettling. It's no longer just about loss or disappointment, it's about inevitability. The sense that no matter what these characters do next, the outcome has already been decided. The episode leans into that feeling heavily, letting moments stretch out and conversations sit uncomfortably in the air. There's no urgency anymore because urgency implies hope. What we're watching now is acceptance. Tommy's storyline in this section is especially painful because it shows him finally slowing down, not because things are resolved, but because he's running out of reasons to fight. For most of the series, his identity has been tied to fixing problems before they explode, but episode 9 strips that role away from him piece by piece. Decisions are made without his input. Plans move forward regardless of his concerns, and when he does speak up, his words feel more like formalities than guidance. The people around him are already looking past him toward what comes next. What hurts the most is that Tommy still cares. He hasn't emotionally checked out, even though it might be easier if he did. He still believes in protecting people, in minimizing damage, in preventing the worst case scenario. But the world around him no longer values those instincts. In this system, caution is weakness, empathy is inefficiency. Episode 9 makes it painfully clear that Tommy's greatest strengths are now his biggest liabilities, and watching him come to terms with that reality is devastating. Cammy, on the other hand, feels colder and more distant than ever, but the episode is careful not to turn her into a villain. Instead, it shows the cost of her ambition. She stands alone at the top, surrounded by people who follow her decisions but don't truly stand beside her. The weight of leadership is visible in her posture, in the way she speaks, in the lack of warmth in her interactions. She has achieved clarity, but clarity comes with isolation. Episode 9 quietly asks whether that kind of success is worth the price. Their final conversations in this section feel heavy with subtext. There's no dramatic farewell, no explicit firing, no explosive confrontation. But the message is clear. Cammy no longer sees Tommy as essential to the future she's building, and Tommy, for the first time, understands that loyalty doesn't protect you from being replaced. That understanding hits him harder than any argument ever could. It's the moment he realizes that the company he sacrificed everything for will survive without him, and may even thrive. Angela's emotional conflict reaches a breaking point here, even if it doesn't fully explode yet. Her jealousy isn't just about money or luxury, it's about freedom. She wants a life where success means enjoyment, not constant pressure. And standing next to Tommy, she sees someone who equates worth with exhaustion. Episode 9 frames this not as selfishness, but as incompatibility. Angela isn't wrong for wanting more, and Tommy isn't wrong for choosing duty over comfort. But those choices are pulling them in opposite directions, and neither of them knows how to bridge that gap anymore. Galliano's shadow looms large over everything. Even when he's not actively involved, his presence is felt in every financial decision, every risk taken, every conversation about the future. He represents a version of success that is untouchable, insulated from consequence. Watching others struggle while he remains unaffected reinforces the episode's bleak message. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed, and that realization drains the remaining hope from the room. As this section closes, episode 9 feels unbearably quiet, not calm but subdued, like the moment after a storm warning, when everyone knows what's coming but can't do anything to stop it. The sadness isn't loud or dramatic, it's heavy, pressing down on every character, shaping their decisions and pushing them toward an ending that feels less like a surprise and more like an unavoidable truth. The final stretch of episode 9 doesn't try to deliver closure. Instead, it leaves you sitting with the weight of everything that has been set in motion. And that's exactly why it feels so sad. This episode understands that the most painful moments aren't always loud or explosive. Sometimes they're quiet realizations, the kind that linger long after the scene ends. By now, every character seems to be standing at the edge of a decision they can't undo, and the episode lets that tension breathe without rushing toward resolution. Tommy's arc in this final section is heartbreaking because it strips him down to his core. Without the authority he once held and without the certainty that his work still matters, he's left confronting a version of himself he's avoided for years, a man whose value has always been tied to usefulness. Episode 9 forces him to face the possibility that he might no longer be needed, not just by MTEX, but by the people closest to him. And that fear sits heavily in every moment he's on screen. He doesn't lash out, he doesn't beg to stay relevant, he simply absorbs the reality, quietly and painfully. There's a moment where it becomes clear that Tommy understands what's coming next, even if no one has officially said it yet. The way he listens more than he speaks, the way he steps back instead of stepping in. These are not the actions of a man fighting for control. They're the actions of someone preparing for loss. Episode 9 doesn't show his downfall outright. It shows the emotional preparation for it, and somehow that feels even crueler. Cammy's path forward is clearer than ever, but it's also lonelier. She has chosen momentum over connection, results over reassurance. And while that may secure the company's future, it costs her something intangible. The episode subtly highlights how few people truly stand with her now, rather than beneath her. Leadership has given her power, but it has also isolated her, and in the silence between decisions, you can sense that she feels it, even if she refuses to acknowledge it. Angela's story comes full circle in this section, not through dramatic action, but through emotional clarity. Her sadness isn't about losing Tommy yet, it's about realizing that the life she dreams of will never exist alongside the life he's chosen. Episode 9 treats this realization with empathy. There's no villain here, just two people whose desires no longer align. And that kind of ending, the slow fade rather than the sharp break, is often the hardest to accept. Cooper's future looks promising on the surface, but the episode leaves it deliberately complicated. His growing authority places him exactly where Tommy once stood, facing the same pressures, the same expectations, the same sacrifices. Episode 9 quietly suggests that the cycle may simply repeat itself. Today it's Tommy being pushed aside, tomorrow it could be Cooper. The system doesn't care who stands at the center as long as someone does.